Hey David, good afternoon.
Thank you, Pranali. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here.
So yeah, we are all here again back with the WITI wrap up. We'd like to know what happened in this week, what's happening in next week, and how WITI is helping our community grow faster. For the tech savvy people, how we are bringing together. We'd love to know. David would like to start. How was this week for WITI?
Thank you. Yeah, no, this week was great. We didn't have a ton of meetings. Usually the fourth week of the month, we have a few things, but a couple of highlights. First of all, every Wednesday we have our member orientation. One week it's for kind of people that already signed up for WITI, and then they learn about all the great things happening and then go into breakout rooms to connect with each other. That's at 10 o'clock Pacific every Wednesday. Then the following week, it's for both members as well as prospects that are thinking about joining WITI and just kind of want to see the types of people involved and that type of thing. So that was good.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was a great introductory call overall. If anybody would like to join VT and would like to know what happens in VT, how this community is fostering, how it is helping you. So it's every month, Wednesday, we have this program for the new VT members. Feel free to drop into VT.com. And if not, then you can always reach back to us through contact us, or there are a lot of volunteers who can help you out. Just LinkedIn message that can help to David or other members, and feel free to drop in there and see what's happening. Yeah.
yes. And then also Wednesday this week, we had our equity session. So we have a monthly kind of conversation about equity. What does that mean? How can companies, really look at that when they say DEI and the IE is for equity? What are they doing, right? We see a lot of different programs at companies, and whether they're helping, the employees, really get to their end result and get their bonuses and get, complete their KPIs or the OKRs by the end of the year. Like that's what WITI is all about. That's why we think, some of these programs may have gone a little off course. So we're bringing them back in. One great way of how we're doing that is with our new generative AI session that we do every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So, there we just learned so much, just our members sharing new things that they're working on with generative AI, how they're using it in their jobs, using it to write code. One of our members kind of showed this whole prompt system they created to create like a weekly blog, and then they just have to kind of change the title in it, and it pulls such great information, and they need to review it, right? Generative AI is a tool for us to get things done, expand what we can do, and just help us support, have more time with our family, right? So we can kind of structure those tasks, have time to rest and well-being so we can be more effective at work. So
Yeah, and that's in general, it's very effective. I feel I missed this Thursday session due to some other appointments that I had, but I know those are like very informing sessions. In order to grow, it helps us doing a lot of research altogether. How it compiles the information and gives you the broad way to get start with. Some product managers are using it so effectively that I came to know from VT members. Some of the product managers that we have in our group are really using it effectively and massively, generating those features or understanding where the market is standing with a couple of products, and, how they should be moving ahead. So in general, I think a lot of people are anyways using it to make their jobs more smarter, I feel.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think it's great. And it's really just, yeah, how people are getting creative, how they're using it. Every week I'm just like, somebody shares an idea how they're using it. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that, right? So yeah, that'll grow. I think we're going to add a second one that'll be a little later, late afternoon, early evening California time, so we can support excuse me, support all of our members that are in Australia and APAC and stuff like that, and just people that want to do it at different times. So
Yeah, that will be wonderful, actually. Yes.
yeah, and it really works well, right? Because sometimes you just don't think of things, and they may seem obvious after somebody shares. It's like, why didn't I use it for that?
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I love to see the new timings coming up for the AI special session, especially. That would be wonderful to, a lot of people can take out time because 9 a.m. is very prime time for a lot of people to, go to the work meetings, at least in the Pacific zone. But I know there are people from the East Coast, generally they can join in during the lunchtime and it works better for them.
Yeah, one person's 9 a.m. is another person's 9 p.m. or 12
Yeah.
p.m. or whatever, right? So yeah, now I think as we live in our global economy, things are happening around the clock, right? So it's exciting times that I think we all have to shift for.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So other
So
than that, what happened?
yeah, and then other than that, we wrapped it up with our job search strategy session today. So I thought that was good. Everybody seems to be making progress just on
Wonderful.
how do you stand out in the crowd? How do you get through? How do you get to the hiring manager? That at the end of the day, those are the people that are looking for you. Insert your name here, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's dysfunction in the system at the company. Sometimes somebody missed an email, whatever it is, right? But at the end of the day, I think more and more now, especially with the influx of people that got laid off and just the people on the street, it is up to the candidate, know where they can contribute to the company and get to the person that may not even know they need them until they meet them and say, let me open a rec, or they already have a rec open, right? So those are some of the things that we talk about. So it's been good to see people not being on the call anymore, right? Because they already have their new jobs, although they have to continue to build the relationships.
I think, David, we should bring up one of the success story from your forum, who lately got job in where there was no job description written for her, but then, she made it through. So I think we should, get her on this call, and that way, we can see what, the miracles can happen for them, and, how people are like strategically placing themselves. So that's going to be wonderful. And again, we was not to, mention that this is not just restricted for the particular region, but it is overall global sessions that we have. There are a lot of people joining right now from Europe, UK, and Australia. Even from India, a lot of sessions people are dropping in. So this is something to note on. And soon David is planning to start some regional circles. That's what I know. Love to know about that, David. What's the idea behind it? How you want to lead it? What is the purpose from it you want to derive on?
Yeah. So no, I think just a lot of our regions around the world are going to be starting kind of just Zoom, more just networking, right? Breakout rooms, topical, give our members a chance to meet each other and build connections and relationships. Everything we do at WITI, we make sure it's about building relationships, making sure people get the information that they need to get promoted and get their job done faster and smarter, right? So a lot of the fluff you may find in these other, the diversity organizations, I just think all that stuff is a fail. A lot of it at companies and how they have women as part of this, we're still trying to figure it out. But as you know, Pranali, when we started WITI back in 1989, we were kind of the first ones. So it was brand new, and then things started changing. So anyway, we're bringing people back to like when WITI started, but now we're going to have all the tools and platform and everything else.
Yeah, that's going to be wonderful. And there are a lot of conferences happening in person. Is WITI planning on any in-person conference, or, right now how they want to grow through the webinar conferences for a day or two? Is there any plans?
No plans. Well, we have some things we're working on, not ready for announcements. We had a bunch of people at CES this year. We're working on some partnerships with QuestX and Forma for some of their shows. So we'll have kind of, get together within industry shows as we do our own, we'll see. But I think it's really, using WITI to facilitate relationships in industries that people are working. So yeah, I think by our next Friday show on Cinco de Mayo, somebody's gonna have to bring some cerveza that we'll make some announcements about some of those things.
Wonderful, wonderful. So here is a wrap, and here's like some of the information that we got in, like, what we're looking for from the future WITI. But what's really happening next week?
Yeah, so next week is a great week because it's the first week of the month, which always means Monday at noon Pacific, we have our ag tech session. So that's for people that, want to learn about all the opportunities happening in agriculture with technology. Maybe they work in that space already. There's a ton of growth, a ton of hiring, and just opportunity, not just hiring, right, for deals with those companies. So we're going to be talking about generative AI and how it's being used in the ag tech space. A lot of really interesting things. Our members have been coming on with new products they've been working on with their companies. We had a guy from Canada join last month who runs a global ag tech community. So yeah, just building a lot of relationships there.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
it's a very
exciting.
interesting space, actually, right? It's very impactful for the entire community, actually. Everybody is looking forward to, get those results and avail in their day-to-day life. So I think it is a very interesting space to be in.
No, it's interesting. We had people in Dubai and how are they, in the Middle East, creating, these different ways to grow plants and vegetables and food.
Yeah.
We're going to start expanding. I think some things that are happening in food tech are exciting with things like air protein or Nature's Find, they create protein from steam from glaciers. They don't have to suck the Earth's resources to do that. So yeah, exciting stuff that will be,
Yeah, it's a lot of resource optimizations that are happening with the AgTech. And it's a very interesting space to be in right now. I feel like, a lot of things happening. There is robotics that's coming into the space, where things can get easier or, can move faster. How they are accommodating the weather conditions and, putting that the grooming culture for those crops. So overall, it's a very exciting field, I feel. Yeah, and a lot of people can always relate to it at any point of time, even if they want to shift, from one space to another in the tech. This is always a space where anybody can relate to.
right. I mean, that's what we're finding, right? There's so many opportunities. Sometimes recruiters won't get the contribution somebody makes and where all the skills are applicable in these different spaces, right? So these are good things to keep in mind. Wednesday, we have our monthly climate change sustainability community that meets at 8 a.m. Pacific. So Nazanin, who's our leader, who's awesome, she leads that. We have, she's in Turkey, so we've been talking quite a bit about just the earthquake in Turkey and what's been going on there, and and just what we can do to make the world a better place and where the opportunities are in the climate change space and sustainability, what companies can do, where the opportunities are. One thing we've been talking about that I think will be one of the topics for this is really around like intellectual property and what are some of the new inventions coming up, right? Because I think with things like climate change and sustainability, there's opportunity for people to, make to really profit and build great businesses while they're also doing great things for the world, right? These don't have to be mutually exclusive. And we find a lot of our members want to work for companies where they're making a difference.
Yes.
So I think that's an important thing. And yeah, so anyway, that's the first Wednesday of every month. Then of course later that day we have our WITI member orientation and networking and update at 10 o'clock Pacific. Then at 11, we have our, when companies want to learn how they can leverage WITI to provide programs for their employees that are kind of safe spaces, because we don't allow recruiters in any of the WITI member events. We want to make sure our corporate partners, are there and their employees can come in and just grow as professionals. Many of our courses they can earn PDUs and CEUs for. So it just kind of helps with continuing education and participating in WITI events. Thursday, we'll have another generative AI think tank. So that's 9 a.m. every Thursday. And we'll see, it's always exciting leading up to that. I'm studying and coming up with new things. And then people like, oh, here's this voice technology. You can layer over what you do and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then Friday, we'll have, the job search strategy session at 11. And then, one of my favorite events is the Link SV event, right?
Yeah.
Right. So for those of you that haven't participated in one of those, we work with our partners, Bob Carr and Don, who at Link SV, what they do is they track all of the investment coming out of the different Silicon Valley investment firms to see what areas of tech the money's going into and how much money's going in and where's the investment. I think, it's the first 3 months of the year been a little slow. There've been a couple of big deals that have kind of skewed the numbers, so they don't look that bad, but pull out that one big deal and then they go down. But I think what I've been reading in the Link SV newsletter, things are starting to kind of continue to go upwards. First Friday of every month we do it. So we look back at the previous month. So what you'll learn at that event on May 5th at noon is just where the opportunities or what happened in April and where the money went. So then we can know what companies to call on, who we want to do business with, maybe services we can provide. Maybe if we're looking for our next opportunity, companies we want to go to. Where can we add value? So, that'll be on Cinco de Mayo as well. Then, of course, Pranali, followed by our third live stream, which I think is a better event, right?
Yeah. It's a lot of exciting events. But to mention about that, the Link SV event, it is so important. Like the data that is put forward is so much research, categorized, and it is, briefed it in a way that everybody can understand. So that's what I like about it, that you really get good insights at a short call, and you don't really have to go and research all over and span and web crawl the data and segregate. So that's the benefit of that session. So David, last week we talked about how people can join WITI as a member, and you provided the promo code J and Jan. But what happens if any corporate would like to associate with WITI? How do they join?
Yeah, the best thing to do is to come to one of the come to one of the the Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific events. 11 a.m. Pacific, and then we can kind of do a discovery and see what support they need and where, if there's some synergies. I'm just going to share my screen to show. One thing we started now is we have our partner pages up. So here we kind of use these as tools for our partners to collect all the data. CVS Health is a great partner. So we kind of promote what they're doing. Our editorial team's working on many articles for them. So those will appear there. Of course, Avanade does a lot of amazing things with us, and we work with Avanade all over the world. So I'll see people from Singapore pop into events, or Australia or Japan. So I think these programs are great. Our talent solutions, we do kind of can help our partners if they authentically do want to hire more women or different types of people, they can
Right.
work with us on creative strategies to make that happen. I think, the days of career fairs and just some of the passive things that a lot of companies might use because they're trying to collect data, I guess,
Mhm.
or trying to hire. I don't know. Some of it's confusing to me. And we want to make sure that our people really are going to companies that deserve to have them, put in positions where they can be authentic in how they work and excel. A lot of the research that we recently completed with our partner Intel was an update to the federal glass ceiling report, right? So it's
Mhm.
really, we had worked with them with the Federal Glass Ceiling Commission when they first published the report in 1995, the year of the first WITI conference. And we worked with them quite a bit, and I think things, as the tech company grew very quickly, there were other priorities. I think now, with the pandemic happening, as we move forward, our programs are called Beyond the Glass Ceiling, right? Let, let's get away from these compliance, risk management driven programs and talk about opportunity, right? I think men and women, Pranali, both of us, we may look at the same problem, use our different innate skills to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And we're both right? So if the companies can harness the power that we both have, if I try to do it the way you do it, or you try to do it the way I do it, we're not going to be as effective. And I think, that's what this work is all about, and to give our partners the tools that they need to just really create a great culture and have happy employees and grow their businesses. And at the end of the day, make the stockholders happy, right? Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so I think it's a great wrap overall, and it's an important takeaway for all the corporates or the employers who are looking forward to associate it with WITI and empower this network, and find out how they can bring diversity into their culture, and how also they can leverage these different communities to grow together. Next week definitely we're going to meet at 1 o'clock, all of you. We'll wrap up the weeks, we'll wrap up the next week, and see what's happening, and we'll pour all the information that you need to drop into the VT community. But moreover, like, we can focus on certain topics. If you have it in mind, feel free to write to us on vt.com, contact us form, or feel free to LinkedIn message to David or Pranali. Either of us, we can take all your inputs and we can focus on those discussions. Well, with David, you're gonna mention about how we can bring the live stream coming into people and how they can join in. So we'll be publishing the links before. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll publish it. It'll always be on the WITI YouTube page. We'll have the Zoom link soon, so if people want to come on and ask questions. I think we'll do that probably for the second half hour. So yeah, I don't know if we'll go too long. We're kind of experimenting to see what works. But we want to make sure that, everybody's getting the information they need. We want feedback from everybody, what's helpful. And exciting times, Pranali, right?
Yes, ready to wrap this week, and the next week is opening up with a lot of events in the Bay Area. We'll see you in